we're faith-driven creators dedicated to telling the truth. Now, on that note, how do you think music contributes to storytelling, like just on a really broad level?
I'll back up a little bit. So part of the story I left out was I also went to get my master's in film scoring.
Chicago.
Yes, in Chicago at Columbia College. And it's a film scoring / video game scoring program. And so in that program, it's basically a film school where we dissected and we watched films every single day. And through that process, after watching dozens and dozens of classic films and modern films and learning how the score helps to tell the story, I think one of the biggest takeaways from that, probably the biggest value of my formal education, is that I learned the power of music, the power of silence, and ultimately the power of telling a different perspective through music. So I think if you look at some of the most classic films of all time, the music is a character in and of itself. Mm-hmm. It is a perspective. It is a theme. It is a location. It's a character, right? It can be so many different things. And at the end of the day, it's an actor, right?
That's true.
Because sometimes, let's just pick on one of the most famous examples of Jaws, right?
Oh, yeah.
John Williams,
it's my favorite movie.
Classic score, Steven Spielberg. The music is a character. Mm-hmm. The music is the shark. The music is the fear. Yeah. Without that score, there is no Jaws.
Yeah.
The movie makes no sense. Pick another example by John Williams is Star Wars, right? Star Wars is one of those, it's one of my favorite films of all time that I love the series. My kids love it now, which is funny. You take the music out, you have no Star Wars. It doesn't make any sense. It actually is a character, and it helps to invoke fear if it's Darth Vader or the Sith themes, or if it's evoking hope, it's evoking with the Jedi theme and Luke's theme and all these things. And even though those examples are the extremes, because John Williams is a super melodic composer, you can go to the exact opposite and look at any of the ambient composers of modern cinema.
Johann Johansson.
And I think it's a great. I was just watching Oppenheimer.
Oh, nice. Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah. I think he's an incredible composer, but the almost exact opposite spectrum, where he's not as big on melodies. He's big on atmosphere and evoking this ambience, this soundscape. So two very different ways to tell a story.
Absolutely,
right? But they both have the same role, is they are a frame around the picture. They're helping to tell the story, but sometimes the music is the story. Other times, silence is the best answer.
Yeah, actually,
there's
to
plenty
that
of
point.
films that
No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men, the Coen brothers, has 16 minutes of music in that whole film. Most of it is just hums and tones. Like, it's not even music. I think one track is tuned to like the rhythm or hertz level of a refrigerator. So it's like it's supposed to be really diegetic, like it's very in that world. But that is considered one of the best thrillers of all time. And you'd think a thriller would have something, like Psycho. Right. It's the score is doing so much work in there to really startle you and whatnot. But that sometimes silence is the answer. And it's certainly a tool, I would assume, in the composer's kit, even though it's like the absence of your craft.
And it's so counterintuitive because I get paid to write music.
Yeah.
Or so I thought.
Yeah.
Right? Or so I was trained. But I think the older I get, the more I do this, and this is not just for film, this is for all types of media, all storytelling. Sometimes that silence is the right answer. And there's even if I had the best possible musical answer to a scene or to, a moment in a game or something, sometimes just silence is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I'll do a quick tie-in to one of my favorite video game series.
Please.
It's called Dark Souls. Any of the Souls games, they take that same approach where it's all diegetic, where there's no music. And so your character's just running around in this lonely atmosphere. It's very dark and grim and medieval. And all of a sudden, you'll be playing for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, just 10 out of 10 intensity, this boss music will come in and scare the junk out of you because it's a jump scare, and all of a sudden, you're fighting this big boss. It's super effective because all of a sudden, it's like you forgot that there wasn't music. And all of a sudden, it is in your face screaming and like big choirs and orchestra and everything. And obviously like the big monster sound effects. And all of a sudden it's over, you win, and all of a sudden it's back to quiet.
Yeah.
And it's creepy.
Yeah.
And even though there's nothing special happening, you're just a dude walking around hearing like the clanks of your armor and you're hearing monsters, whatever. There's something about it that is so isolating and so alien and foreign that you can't replicate that even with the best of music. And even in the most recent game of the series, Elden Ring, which was the game of the year last year. Wildly popular, that they took the same formula, but they actually put music wall to wall in the entire game, and I think it destroyed it.
Really?
Great music.
Yeah.
But that entire sense of terror, of fear, of isolation is completely gone.
Give me something, a time to breathe. I think contrast is something that I'm, as a filmmaker and as an editor, I look for.
Contrast.
Because if you just give me nothing but, crying scenes back to back or whatever, it's like, I'm sure you as a composer can relate. If you're given that to score, it starts becoming, it's overstaying its welcome, and it's starting to detract, and the audience is no longer pulled in, they're being pulled out. And they start realizing, okay, the artifice of the film, I'm no longer sucked in anymore. And the same with a game, obviously. And games are probably more immersive than movies. You are the character. One of my favorite games of all time, this is somewhat of a tangent here, is Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
Have you ever played Left 4 Dead?
What's that?
So it's a 4-player zombie apocalypse game. Okay. It's very simple. All you do is you go from point A to point B 4 times, and then you beat the campaign. And you have your companions, and it was known for really pioneering the co-op online thing, but you have to work together to survive zombies, the zombie apocalypse essentially, but there are special infected, and each special infected has their own musical theme. And so it's going to happen, and it builds anticipation when you start hearing the witch's theme, and she's this kind of creepy, she'll be like right in your path, get up and kill you in one hit type thing. Or the one that sends everybody into a frenzy is the tank's theme. And the tank is just like a big Hulk. And you hear that coming, and you're fighting off this horde of zombies, and you see him coming over the ridge, and he's going to just kill your team in one hit too. That music is so effective at selling the atmosphere of that game. And those cues, I've been playing that game it came out in like 2008. So over 15 years now. I still get my friends in a room and like in real life, and we'll get together and play. And that's the other aspect of that game that I like is
it's the best way to play.
It's with other people. Very, very Nintendo-esque.